Hello everyone, Happy New Year and welcome back to our YouTube channel. My name is Florence Akpan, founder and lead consultant here at InfoPlace Canada, a Canadian immigration firm helping immigrants from around the world looking to come to Canada through various Canadian immigration pathways. Today, I am here to dive into very exciting news. Exciting, I guess, and somewhat interesting, somewhat troubling for a lot of people, but I'll explain all of it. That has to do with the update that IRCC released in December on the Proof of Funds update. Yep, it's official. In December 2023, the Canadian government updated the proof of funds requirement. A single applicant used to require only $10,000 in living expense to show for their study permit application. This number has now doubled. But before we go on to talk about the amount, let's talk about what was attainable before this change. Before this change, it was $10,000 for the primary applicant, $4,000 for the first accompanying applicant, and $3,000 for any subsequent applicants that was coming to Canada with the student. However, what happened with those funds were it's actually been around for, it's not been updated since the early 2000s. So it's been $10,000. And for many of us that live in Canada, and depending on the city that you live in, it was not reasonable. It was not realistic and reflective of the actual cost of living in Canada. So a lot of international students would arrive in Canada and be really shocked that the $10,000 was not enough to give them a good quality of life to live and go to school without needing additional funds and things like that. In 2023, to be specific, there was a lot of news on international students coming in, struggling with the cost of living in Canada skyrocketing, struggling to find accommodation, struggling to feed themselves and all of that. And there was no better time for them to step in and actually make the cost of living in Canada reflective to what it actually is for the average student that is coming to study in Canada. The increase in the cost of living is not unusual because for applicants who typically apply for PR through Express Entry, it's not unusual that the cost of living has now been updated because with Express Entry it was updated every year, but for some reason study permit never really got the update that it needed. So it's finally happened and it's now doubled from $10,000 to $20,635 for a single applicant. So now fast forward to 2024, we are sitting at $20,635 for a single applicant. And this is 75% of the low income cutoff, which in Canada we always say low income cutoff. And what is low income cutoff? So just so you understand what this is. Low income cutoff is a table for immigration purposes that represents the poverty line in Canada's urban areas with population of 500,000 or more. In other words, you are poor if your income is below LICO. Statistics Canada updates LICO table every year based on inflation. So for international students looking to come into Canada to study, the cost of living amount that is required in 2024 is not going to be the same for 2025 because IRCC has promised that this number going forward will be updated annually as the LICO tables get updated as well. So looking at this, you can see the comparison based on this table. Just looking at for what it was for a single applicant at 10,000 and what it's now for a single applicant at 20,000. So for example, prior to this change, a single applicant would have required, coming for a $20,000 program, would have required about 32,000 Canadian dollars to study in Canada. But now that number is over $42,000. And all of this increase impacts you based on your family size as you go on. The table that you're seeing here now shows a comparison of what the increase will be per additional family member that you add into your application that is coming with you to study in Canada. I want you to remember that this is just cost of living. You still have to think about your transportation cost and you still have to think about your tuition fee. So when students typically ask, how much do I need to show to study in Canada? If you're coming for a one-year program, it is your tuition fee, your new cost of living, and your transportation cost for you and all of your family members that will be accompanying you to study in Canada. Now, I know the increase caught a lot of international students by surprise, especially too if you're from a country where your country's exchange rate to Canada is also fluctuating as well, and then you're now hit with the increased cost of living. It's a big change. But before you start thinking about oh, Canada might not be the option anymore. Let's look at what the cost of living requirement is in order to top study destination. Based on what my team has researched, let's talk about it and look at what it is. In Australia, you need a minimum of 21,887 Canadian dollars in living expense. In the United Kingdom, it ranges from 15,689 Canadian to 20,464 Canadian, depending on if you're outside London or if you're inside London. And in the United States, the requirement varies based on the location and the city of your school, but our research shows an average of about 27,000 Canadian dollars equivalent that is required to study. So when you look at these numbers, Canada is quite comparable when it comes to the cost of living requirement. So the big question is, beside the cost of living and the cost of studying in Canada, what are the other factors that you should be considering, that you should be looking at when choosing a destination for your study? That is a reason why about a million students have chosen Canada as their study destination. So top 6 reasons why international students around the world continue to choose Canada as their destination of choice. I chose Canada almost 20 years ago, and I'm still here. One of the reasons are, number one, quality of education. We cannot underestimate the quality of education that Canada has to offer. Again, affordability. Yes, the cost of living has just gone up, the requirement that you still have to show, but compared to other countries, the cost of living in Canada is also still very affordable. Pathways to permanent residence is one of the most popular reasons why international students from around the world choose Canada. Now, while studying in Canada does not guarantee you getting to permanent residence, there is an option for you as an international student to successfully transition from just being an international student to becoming permanent residents. That's what I did. I came as an international student. I went on to become a worker and permanent resident, and now a Canadian citizen. So these options are available, and lots of international students have successfully transitioned through that. Cultural diversity. Cultural diversity is huge. Canada is a very multicultural country, and you can be sure that when you come here, you're most likely going to find someone that looks like you. So that's something that attracts a lot of people to choose Canada as their study destination. Quality of life. Overall, Canada continues to be ranked as the top country when it comes to quality of life. In 2023, it was ranked number 2 best country to live in, despite all of the things that are happening around. There's no great country, there's no perfect country out there, but Canada sure tops the list when it comes to a great country that you can live in. So those are some six reasons why people choose Canada to study, and some of the things that I would like you to think about when you're trying to decide on the destination where you want to study. It's good to put all these things into perspective and not just focus on the cost, but look at long term and look at the quality of life and the experience overall that you're going to be getting studying in Canada. So we've heard about the cost of living. We've heard about the proof of funds requirement, the amount you need to show tuition fee, living expense, and all of that. But there are always common mistakes that come up when applicants, even people that have this money, still make mistakes in the application that lead to refusal. I have a video which I'm going to link down below or somewhere up here, wherever my team will put it, that talks about common mistakes to avoid when you're applying for your study permit application. Now, that video was made when the minimum cost of living requirement was $10,000. That, of course, you know from this video that has changed, but every other thing that has been discussed in that video still remains key pointers to help you package a strong and convincing application. And of course, if you have any question as you're going through your application, you're looking at this proof of funds requirement, you're wondering where you can get this money from, you're wondering if the proof of funds that you have it's going to be sufficient, other things that you can leverage to increase your funding requirement to meet the new requirement, definitely book a consultation and speak to one of my team who would be able to guide you based on your own unique case to really understand exactly what you need to show. It's not just about having the money, but there's a lot of things that you need to know to show IRCC that one, the money is yours and is also going to be available for your planned study in Canada. Proof of funds remains one of the top reasons why applicants are refused study permits applications to Canada. So it is important if you're looking to study in Canada in September of this year, you should be starting right about January to ensure that you have sufficient proof of funds in place to guide you on your study permit journey. So there you have it. Lots of changes, lots of things that you have to consider. However, there's a lot of guide and a lot of support available on this channel, and even on one-on-one sessions with my consultants, and it can be booked on our website. The link would be shown below. Now, thank you for joining and watching this video. Hit the like button if you do like this video. Please do not forget to share if you find this video informative and helpful to someone else. Share it, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, so then whenever we have new posts, new videos, live events, webinars, and things that we're having, you can get the notification on time to join us. Thank you once again, and see you on our next video.